Recording in progress.
Good morning, dear Dharma friends. Queen at Wembley Stadium. Is this the world we created? Sorry, my microphone's a little loose here. There we go. The older I get, and the more life flows through and by me, the more potent the following poem is to me. It's a poem of its time. 16, I forget what Shakespeare's dates were. The gender is all masculine, and it's pretty hard to change it. So I invite you to turn on your auto translators. And so I won't mess with it in any way. I'll just read it as it comes down to us over time. But these are the words of someone who saw life in some essential way. Someone who understood anicca, dukkha, and anatta. All the world is a stage. And all the men and women are merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one person in their time plays many parts, the acts being 7 ages. At first the infant mewling and puking in the nurse's arms, and then the whining schoolboy with his satchel and shining morning face, creeping like snail unwillingly to school. And then the lover, sighing like a furnace, with woeful ballad made to his mistress's eyebrow. Then a soldier, full of strange oaths and bearded like the pard. Jealous in honor, sudden and quick in quarrel, seeking the bubble reputation, even in the cannon's mouth. And then the justice, in fair round belly with good capon lined, with eyes severe and beard of formal cut, full of wise saws and modern instances. And so he plays his part. The 6th age shifts into the lean and slippered pantaloon. With spectacles on nose and pouch on side, his youthful hose well saved, a world too wide for his shrunk shank. And his big manly voice turning again toward childish treble, pipes, and whistles in his sound. Last scene of all that ends this strange, eventful history is second childishness and mere oblivion. Sans teeth, sans eyes, sans taste, sans everything. All the world's a stage and all of us are merely players. We have our exits and our entrances, and each person in their time plays many parts. And so, dear friends, following the way of the Buddha, following the way of the Buddha. We find our way to a comfortable upright position. Or we might say we walk into our experimental laboratory. We refresh ourselves with the scientific method. The method that says, have your hypothesis, but don't be welded to it. Carry out the experiment yourself. Don't believe anybody else's results. Develop an instrument that can measure what you're interested in, that can perceive what you're interested in knowing about. Create the microscope slide or the electron microscope preparation and turn the telescope toward what you want to see. And so this is an experiment with an N of 1. What will happen if I sit down regularly? What will happen if I dedicate a significant aspect of my life energy to being awake, to taking refuge in the Buddha? And so we sit and bring mindfulness into breathing. Bring awareness to the beginning, middle, and ending of this breath right now. We may have done this 1,000 times or 10,000 times. But this moment is this moment, the only moment right here now. there's a quality of devotion, of love, of gratitude for this body that breathes. And so we bring awareness to the actual precious reality of this in-breathing now. And this out-breathing. At some point it may become really obvious. Irrefutably obvious that the body breathes by itself. And that each breath has a beginning. That beginning makes way for a rising of the chest and abdomen, for sensations in the nostrils as the air rushes in. And it's possible and desirable to learn to develop concentration so that awareness can stay firmly, delicately, beautifully on the actual sensations of breathing in and out. Most probably, the mind will have trance states it falls into. 5 of our favorite tunes are sense desire, wanting something, wanting this moment to be different, or disliking this moment, resisting, or disliking something in the content of some thought. Or our very familiar friend, restlessness and agitation and worry. And what's profoundly strange is we don't have to stop these. They stop by themselves. Awareness illuminates them, and then we can come back to breathing. Or we could come back to feeling the life in the legs and the hands. We could recite a mantra in the mind. May I be happy, may all beings be happy. What we return to is not crucial. The fact of returning, the fact of establishing a home base, the fact of having the intention to awaken from doubt, from the florid stories that the mind tells, all the world's a stage. And our roles arise out of our thoughts. And so we rest back. And we rest back into that which knows, that which is awake and aware. The source of all human activity is the mind. The mind responds to feelings, to sense impressions, to beliefs, to thoughts, to prior experiences. They call this the path of purification. Where we cultivate a mind which is capable of really being present in what's occurring right now. So it notices thoughts that are rooted in love and compassion. It notices impulses that are rooted in greed, in fear. It notices somewhere along the line that anxiety is in blossom. And it reveals a strange impersonality to it all. Hence we can notice this is a thought. This is a memory. This is a plan. This is self-hatred. This is hatred of the other. This is fear. Look where it exists in the body. Wow, look at this. This is paranoia. This is worry, conjuring up a future and then worrying about it. And this all happens right here in the present moment, this moment now. Where there is breathing in and breathing out. This experience of in-breathing and out-breathing is truly a visceral one. It is the actual life of the abdomen, the chest, the deep gut. And it's not in the least abstract. It doesn't require any thinking, any thought, any word, any name. It is life itself. As we practice, and especially if we practice really regularly, we will observe that sometimes it's very sweet, very delicious, very pleasing. Sometimes not so sweet. Sometimes difficult. Sometimes it's like eating steel, trying to sit in the middle of desire or hatred, sit in the middle of anxiety and not flee, sit in the middle of hopelessness or self-esteem that's in the minus 50 category. And if we do this, we discover that these states are temporary, evanescent. And we discover equanimity. We actually intentionally learn to bear that which was previously unbearable. To not flinch, to not run, to not project, to not blame someone else. To truly be here now with an open heart. The first foundation is the body, the slowest changing aspect of a human being. And the body is capable of extraordinary pleasure and excruciating difficulty and pain. Part of our intention is learning to be with whatever's here. And so when you discover that there's pain, chronic pain or the pain of this moment, it's not a mistake. It's not because you're doing something wrong. It's not punishment. It's the fact that a human body is subject to pain. And when the pain is minor, we can simply distract, come more firmly into the breath, and the pain disappears. But when the pain is significant or chronic, then we do that utterly counterintuitive thing of turning toward it, embracing it, finding our way as close as we can. Whether it's a knee or a finger or the back or the head. When we attend to pain, we discover that there are sensations that are unpleasant. There's often disliking. And how is it that we can bear them? That we can get closer and closer? We can actually tease apart the pain and the resistance to the pain. And sometimes the suffering and the resistance just vanish. All human beings have pain. Pain of the body, pain of the heart. And we all long to be held in compassion. And let us add to our practice a very simple, on the in-breath, may all beings be free from suffering. And on the out-breath, and so may I be free from suffering. May all beings be surrounded by compassion, inwardly and outwardly. May I too be surrounded by compassion, inwardly and outwardly. sounds, no interruption. Breathing in compassion, breathing out compassion. What we all want. I have one announcement I'd like to make. On this beautiful, gray, promising to be rainy morning here in Portland, Oregon. It's this. Oops, this got in the way. Go away. April the 26th, which is next Tuesday night, my dear friend and local Buddhist teacher Betsy Toll will be leading us at PIMC In the Elm Dance, I first did this with Joanna Macy, who I think brought it to us. On April 26th, the Buddhist teacher and environmental activist Betsy Toll of Living Earth will guide us in remembering the victims and environmental catastrophe of the Chernobyl nuclear accident 36 years ago and its ongoing impacts, especially in light of current conditions in Ukraine. We'll bow to victims of other nuclear horrors, the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The evening will honor peacemakers everywhere and will also honor the endless river across time and cultures of people who have patiently loved and cared for the land, the forests, the communities, and the cultures they love so dearly. We'll offer a metta practice for all who suffer the pain, loss, and grief of wars and other nuclear disasters, and also acknowledge the beauty of life on this planet Earth. We'll rekindle our commitment to peace and resilience and our determination to protect the beauty and balance of the earth for present generations and those who come. We'll join hands in a timeless and simple circle dance for the world. This I'm reading to you is on the portlandinsight.org webpage. So that's live. I don't know that it's going to be broadcast at all. I should check that out. Betsy's a very wonderful, sweet-hearted friend, long-term practitioner. She was very close with Ram Dass, and she's been really quite a devotee and caregiver for Joanna Macy. So that's what I have to say this morning. Is there anything you would like to share? Any joys or sorrows or questions or comments? Just in case there's anybody new, our ritual is very simple. If you want to speak, you can just press or unmute yourself and you will be live on Zoom. And an invitation to the quiet ones among us. If there's something that wants to be said and it's scary, see if you can overcome that scare, if it seems right. And for those who share easily, to be sure to make some room for others. It doesn't mean don't speak, but to allow some space.
Hi, Robert. It's Joy.
Hello, Joy.
Hi. I just thought I'd update you on my spiritual exploration.
Yes.
So yesterday we went to a Ukrainian Catholic church, which was absolutely amazing. It was 3 hours long in Ukrainian. And the Ukrainian Catholic Church is a very really gorgeous, full of paintings and candles and golden chandeliers and beautiful embroidered cloths. and full of rituals. Like we had a parade with huge golden standards 3 times around the church outside, and the service was sung by the priest, and then there was a chorus in the balcony of women singing in response. It was really amazing, all in Ukrainian. The week before that, we went to a synagogue, and it was really beautiful too. Like the sung psalms, the unveiling of the Torah, and a procession with the Torah. I feel that because of the places I've been, I have such a greater understanding of what the humans around me are doing in their spiritual practices, and how important it is to people. And I was really surprised. I know our Ukrainians and Jewish people are all around us, and I never knew what it was that they were doing. And now I feel much closer to an appreciation of the human spiritual experience. So by comparison with all that ritual and gorgeousness, the Buddhist path seems pretty plain. Well, I know that there are Tibetan Buddhists with thangkas and rituals as well, but what we do is so different. It's interesting. Anyway, that's my path. The next thing we're going to do is a Hindu temple, I hope. So anyway, thank you. And that's just my new experience of how people express their spiritual path in the world.
Thank you, Joy. There is a lot of ritual in Theravada Buddhism, and like lots and lots of chanting. And quite some years ago, I took a group of 17 people to Thailand for 17 days. And the highlight of the trip was to be present at Wat Ba Pong in Ubon Ratchathani in eastern Thailand, which was the monastery that Ajahn Chah founded. And it happened it was a day in January, and it's the anniversary of his passing. And for a week before, there are maybe several thousand women, mostly, a few men, but mostly women, and they camp out in these little tiny gauzy tents all around the monastery, thousands of them, and they chant all day and all night. And then on the day of the event, when one arrives, and there are thousands of people that come, very few Westerners, but thousands of Thais come, and then and each person is given a stick of incense, a lotus flower, and one other item I forget right now. And then at a certain point, the monks, maybe 800 to 1,000 monks, come out of this door, about 6 or 8 abreast. And then the nuns come, and then the lay men come, and then the lay women, and there's thousands of them. And then we, the other participants, get to fall in line behind them. And then there's this procession in silence. It's about 3 kilometers around the road, around it, and there's no speaking at all. And then you come up, and there's these racks, and you put all your offerings down on the racks, and there's thousands of flowers, and then there's more chanting, and then there's food, and they feed this crowd of maybe 10,000 people. And you can't spend money at this thing. It's impossible. There's no money changing hands. The food is all provided by the businesses of Ubon. And then it becomes quite a celebration. There's lots of laughter. And so there's a ton of that kind of thing in Theravada Buddhism. What we have here is, in a way, the simplified, I hope, the active ingredient for awakening. That if we did what in Portland, you can go to Portland Friends of the Dhamma, and they have a lot more of that. They have more of the rituals and so on. So it's a mostly conscious, semi-conscious choice in the insight meditation world to really leave behind most of the Asian, what appear to be us Asian rituals. So you'll love the Hindu temple. I mean, they're so cool. They get down.
I don't have the same beliefs as the Ukrainians for 3 hours expressed, "He is risen." Yes, he is risen. I don't have that belief, but there's something fundamentally, some kind of need that humans have to be in a cocoon of ritual and some kind of supernatural faith. So, I mean, it's just so helpful to go into that place and know that you'll be supported by all of the beautiful objects and the community of people who all believe the same thing. So, I'm trying to figure out what is that, because none of it's really real in terms of like the physical realm, but yet it does something for people.
Sangha, yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
I had a fine time praying in the mosques in Turkey. To be with several hundred men bowing and praying. I don't know what they were doing, but it was powerful to be with them. So what a wonderful thing you're doing that exploration.
Well, I feel as though I have a greater depth of understanding of the people around me and how they relate to some kind of desire. Like mostly there are two messages. One is the people beg for mercy. They beg for intercession from the divine. That's a huge, like, they propitiate the gods. They want the help of the gods because they're in a realm of suffering. And then the second message is they worship God. They express, worship, glory, appreciation, gratefulness. So those are two basic human needs, like related to helplessness, the helplessness of the human situation, and yet the wonder of where we're at. And that seems to be the same in all faiths.
Well, there are some differences. There isn't this praying to a deity in at least the mystical side, the practice side of Theravada Buddhism.
But there are deities like Maitreya, Tara.
That's all Tibetan. And they're just different ways that people have figured out how to focus the heart and mind. But at least to my understanding, the Buddha didn't teach about devotion to God or creation of a god or something like that. That's really absent. It's very central in the teachings. When people asked him, "Is there a God?" he would say, "Are you suffering?" He didn't delve into that realm.
Well, all of the major religions are from the Middle East, and they have that aspect of a divine being, which I don't personally believe in, and it is really different from the Eastern religions.
Well, Hinduism is similar in that it has a divine being, and Sikhism, they have most traditions in the world have a god image. In fact,
Anyway,
most
yeah.
Theravadan Buddhists worship the Buddha as though he were a deity. In fact,
I would like to believe in a God that has some interest in human life.
Yeah, wouldn't that be great if there really were a good dad or mom who could take care of us? I'd like that too.
Anyway, this is how I'm distracting myself from whatever.
I don't know that it's distracting. It sounds like a very lovely exploration.
Yes, thank you. It is really, really interesting and fun, and we're meeting wonderful people too in all these places. That they're so welcoming and friendly and kind, and
yeah,
I think the religion must really help them. For a long time, I thought it was a dangerous delusion, but now I'm wondering, well, maybe it's actually really helpful. I'm not sure. Anyway, this is a long conversation, so thank you.
Thank you, Joy. Have fun. Anybody else have something you'd like to share?
Hi, it's Carol.
Hi, Carol. How's life
Hi,
on your hilltop?
Good morning. Oh,
Oop, your connection's a bit weak.
yeah, I was just going to say that my Joy kind of stimulated some thought about my first yoga teacher was Swami Satchitananda, who actually gave the opening talk at the Woodstock Festival. And he, part of where his ashram was created a temple, large temple called the Lotus Temple, or the Light of Truth Universal Shrine, where it was in the form of a lotus, and each lotus petal represented a different religion where people from different faiths could come and practice. And the center of the temple was a candle that lit up the entire temple and kind of connected all of the different petals and religions. And there were many ecumenical services that took place there. But when he was Hindu background, and whenever he was asked what his religion was, he said Unduism was what he practiced. So
That's nice.
Anyway, I just thought I'd share that.
That's cute. Right.
Yeah.
You know, the Dalai Lama always responds when asked, he says, my religion is kindness.
Yes. Beautiful.
Yeah.
A very uniting religion, kindness. If only we could all practice that as our religion.
I think we are right now.
We are. Thank you.
Kindness. Well, is anybody sitting with something strong or something important for you to say? I need to go relatively early this morning. I have a very sick friend, and I've arranged for my guitar teacher and his wife, who knew her 25 years ago. They're coming over this morning to do a little house concert for her. So I need to go fairly early to go get that set up. So let's go out on a song, Bhavatu Sabe Mangalam. I like those terms, those words. Ruth Dennison always used to sing them. Bhavatu Sabe Mangalam Bhavatu Sabe Mangalam Bhavatu Sabe Mangalam Sadhu 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 Have a lovely, kind day, dear friends.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Here we go.